Hi, welcome to Walking Wilder. I'm Bart, and this is an intuitive reading for the remainder of 2025, which is basically November and December. When I'm recording this, it's the end of October. So let's see what energies are playing out in your life. The first card that came out is the bridge. And my feeling with this is that there's something here that you are trying to mend, trying to build bridges between yourself perhaps and someone else. If it's in a relationship, it can be a bridge with part of yourself. If there's, some shadow aspect here, which could be possible with this animal archetype here, the inner knowing, the beast in you, I want to say. That seems a little, harsh somehow. But it's not meant in that way. It's more the wild part of you, the intuitive part that is showing up here, kind of like you're trying to bridge something. Yeah, this is a shadow thing for most of you. You're trying to bridge yourself and your shadow. There's a part of you that you're intuitive with this animal archetype here is being guided towards. There's a red thread in your life somewhere that you are not really seeing or not fully connected to. It's quite interesting. There's like two rainbows here as well, in these cards. So there's a lot of energy of needing to follow something to, that old saying, at the end of the rainbow is the pot of gold type of thing. But, it's more... it's the inner knowledge. It's like there's something you need to discover about yourself or about a situation, about some shadow aspect, in order to heal something, to heal something. See, here's the Temple card. This energy of going within, of connecting to spirit and healing aspects of yourself, kind of. There's also this energy of being grateful for the things that you have. And, this is the holiday season, so a lot of people are, out there spending a lot of money and all of that. But it's the reminder to be grateful for the inner peace, And some of you might be like, oh my goodness, I don't have any inner peace and life is so stressful and all of that. But it's like there's this feeling of tiny moments of inner peace that you can create, which would also be the places where you can connect, or the moments where you can connect to this bridge. It's like there's a need to create tiny moments where you can intuitively work with this energy and connect to this red thread that's trying to show you something in your life that needs to be followed or needs to be acknowledged, maybe. For some of you, it's a matter of seeing this. And this is actually, this is leading to a part of yourself that maybe you haven't really truly accepted. Yeah, there's something in that. Let's pull one of these, Spirit. What more can you tell me about this? What more can I know about this, Spirit, for the viewer watching this reading? That was a little much. What more can we know? All right, well. Grace, yeah, grace is activated. It's like there's a really a need for being in the energy of grace and gratitude and kind of following, well, not the flow, but the thread following this thread in your life, if you can kind of view your life from a point of view of being in this grace and gratitude, it's like a door is opening that you can follow in a way that you haven't previously been able to. Your presence is requested. Yeah, it's like this needs, again, you need to create these tiny moments of space, of sacred space, to be able to connect to this intuitive part of yourself. And Spirit is like, this feels important on a deeper level. This really feels like there's a need here for acknowledging this part of yourself. Something here about a good partnership. Now, I don't know if this is you with Spirit, you with your shadow, you with another entity, or what this is yet, but we'll see what comes up here. But it's kind of like, with the two bees, it's this working together to kind of create perhaps these tiny bits of places to, or spaces, or it could be places too, I guess, to connect to something deeper. And of course, with the holiday season, whatever you're celebrating, there might be a lot of people around you, a lot of things you have to do, a lot of obligations. And it's like Spirit is saying, don't forget to nurture your own inner flower, your own well-being. Basically, it's the sense of don't forget to connect. Like, don't become so busy out in the world that you forget to connect. Yeah, caution here. Harvest. So there's something here, again, about the things that you have. And here's the journey. And it's like, yeah, there's things here. This is, for a lot of people, a season where, material things are front and center. But Spirit is like, don't forget your inner world. Don't forget connecting with yourself and being, putting your own needs in a place of priority. It's sort of like, don't forget your spiritual development, your spiritual journey, the bridge to the other side, your intuition in all of this. So tell me about the challenge here, Spirit. What's the challenge here? Six of Cups at the bottom, which to me, is a soul bond card, but it's also this card of looking back, of reminiscing, maybe of childhood memories, that type of thing, which often, of course, that's comes up this time of year, because it's like, well, this is how it used to be when I was a kid. There might be traditions that you are either wanting to acknowledge. I'm sorry, I'm being so fiddly here. I'm like moving around, but there's this sense of there being things that either you are wanting to honor and remember, or someone might be expecting you to do things in a certain way because that's the tradition that we have, and it's either taking away from your time, or it's just not really feeling true to who you are anymore. And here's the Six of Swords, which, is a card about walking away from conflicts and stuff. In this particular deck, it always seems to me that there's something here about being connected to Spirit, being connected to the universe. So I kind of get the feeling of this again. Spirit is like, don't neglect your spiritual path in all of this, meaning don't get so caught up in all the hustle and bustle and whatever it's called, of this, that you kind of forget the purpose of it all, which is love. Yeah. Ten of Swords here. Now that's, a painful energy. It's also an energy of endings. For some of you that are watching, there might be some childhood patterns related to the holiday season that you are needing to end, to see for what they are. You might not have had the happiest childhood in the world, and there might be a need to let go of some of that in order to, pursue your own happiness, in a sense. That's for some of you. It may not be for all of you. Tell me about the Ten of Swords. Why is the Ten of Swords here? Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, the Page of Swords here. It can be patterns, too, related to family gatherings and things that are just not really aligning with the way that you see the world. Perhaps you're walking a different path than the rest of your family, and they are not really being particularly kind about it. Swords are also, thoughts and words and that type of thing. So, there can be some people who are just not understanding at all your point of view if you are on a spiritual path that, is not aligned with what their belief is, or how they are wanting to, walk in the world. So it's like there's, there can be perhaps a need maybe to communicate. Here's the Page of Swords. There could be something about communicating, and the Ace of Swords is underneath that. I think we'll take these. So, for some of you anyway, this is about really, really seeing things clearly and standing by what your conviction is. Kind of ending. There might have been a pattern of having a hard time speaking your truth. As you can hear in my voice, there might be something there. And for some of you, you might have an opportunity to kind of not educate people, but to share your beliefs in a more authentic way, and that might somehow bridge something between the two of you. Not necessarily for all of you, there can be different scenarios here. But the Ace of Pentacles is about, building a new foundation, getting a new start, building something solid, something healthy, something worth investing in. And it may be that you are I'm sorry, I think I need a sip of water here. That you are in the midst of trying to there was my phone making a sound, so I'll take that as a confirmation that yes, some of you are in the midst of building this new future that might in some ways not really be what your family was envisioning for you, or the people closest to you were envisioning, but nevertheless, this is how you see the future. This is your path, this is your truth, and I think there's a need for really holding on to that. Here's the Justice card. So this is you, following what the karmic path is for you in this life, meaning this is your sense of feeling. This is what I came here for. This is what my soul is wanting to create. This is how I want to show up in the world. And again, there can be some childhood stuff here, or something that runs in your family, or in the close group of people that that you love, that are just bouncing up against that, kind of like, ooh, yeah. There's something. Why is the Justice card here, Spirit? Tell me more about that. Four of Pentacles. Yeah, you are wanting to build a new foundation. You're wanting to build something that's stable, creating something for yourself that's that feels aligned with you. But you know, the Four of Pentacles can also be an energy of kind of holding on tight to what you have. Some of you might have a feeling that you need to protect whatever this is because people are not going to understand it. Tell me a little bit more, Spirit. Strength card, yeah, definitely. Some of you feel like you have to defend your position in a way. You have to hold on to your vision because it may not be, you know, accepted as the way of doing things or you know, what you should be doing. I don't really feel, you know, that it's, well, and with the Justice card we have, you know, but it's kind of like, it's just mental energy, but it's also a lot about not understanding your perspective, you know. Sometimes people are very judgmental if they're ignorant on a topic of some sort. And that's why I'm kind of like, perhaps there's, for some of you at least, something to be said, something to be said, by having a conversation about this. But what I'm meaning with that is there might be a way of opening something up if there's a communication about this, you know, an honest, open communication about this. And some of you might be going like, heck no, I'm not going down that path. I've been there before. And if that's the case, you know, don't then take this more as a call to protect your investment in your own future from the point of view that you don't always have to tell everybody everything. If you kind of feel like, well, these people are never going to understand this and I know this from experience, then don't waste time and energy on it. And of course, often in this holiday season, you know, you connect with people you might not see that much, who might live very different lives from what you do, that type of thing. People are together, you know, in settings they might not see each other that often, and things come up and it's stressful and all of that good stuff. So there's something there as well. All right, what's the supporting energy here, Spirit? Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, you're working hard on something, putting a lot of effort into whatever it is you are creating or wanting to create. A lot of effort into your truth, into being in this energy here. Tell me a little bit more about this. Two of Wands. The Empress. Yeah. Some of you could actually be thinking about moving. And that can be part of what is not really, you know, some of you might be thinking about moving far away, and, you know, that's not really the story that people are wanting to hear. Or it's just that they're kind of like, well, why, you know, would you spend money on that? Why would you, whatever it is. But there is a choice here about, for some of you, it could also be traveling. But you're definitely making plans of some sort, whether it's in a way you want to live or a place you want to live. There's plans that you're working very hard on. And here's the Empress energy, which, you know, that's a beautiful energy. It's also an energy of, I got this. I am the Empress of my life, you know, embodying all the four queens, this divine feminine energy. This is what I want to do. This is the path that I'm walking unapologetically, following, you know, my intuition. And I'm kind of putting this need for always discussing it, for always following the mainstream. This is how we always did it in my family type of energy behind me here. She's not to be messed with. So there's a lot of energy here of you deciding I'm capable of going it alone if that's what it needs. But I'm still, you know, with that bridge, it's like, tie this together for me, Spirit. Please, tie this together for me. Eight of Cups. King of Swords. Yeah, here's the Eight of Cups, which traditionally, is a card about leaving the past behind. And this bridge does not look very steady. So it's kind of like it's taking a leap of faith to cross this bridge, because it's not necessarily looking to be the safest route. But it is, the route you intuitively know that you are wanting to follow. Now, whether that means turning your back on actually relationships, or it just means that you are changing course somehow and kind of, deciding, well, people are going to have to deal with that however they want to deal with it. I am going to be present with this. I am going to, be a good partner with myself, make decisions that support my happiness, that support my future, that support what I am wanting to create here, and seeing things for what they are. Here's the King of Swords. Now, this can be your energy being very certain that this is what you want to do. It can also represent other people around you. The King of Swords, he can be a little cold at times. Very, I don't want to say controlling, but very, this is the way I see it. And, logically speaking, can't you see that I'm right? So there might be this energy of someone telling you, well, that's just not possible, or that's not going to work out, or why do you want to do it that way? That makes no sense. There can be that type of energy here, that you are, but again, you're trying to kind of see the red thread in all of this and mending the bridge. Let's see what you don't see coming in this. For some of you might be trying too hard. Wheel of Fortune. There's definitely movement here. Yeah, Nine of Swords. Some of you are overthinking this. You are trying to come up with ways to kind of make the other energy, what is this, Spirit? You can't, and don't take this the wrong way, but some of you are trying to cater to other people's opinions a little too much, overthinking, well, what are they going to do if I, say this? How are they going to react if I tell them about this plan? How are they, and it's kind of like Spirit is saying, hey, don't waste your energy on what other people might or might not say. Not that you don't know. Most of you probably know if these are close connections. You intuitively know that based on all of these experiences here from the past and all of the maybe arguments, or incidents over the years where this has shown you that, well, this person or these people are not going to see things my way. But Spirit is kind of like, but you're wasting energy on something you already know, So building this bridge, although you intuitively want to, may not really be, for some of you, it might not be possible at this moment anyways. And for others of you, it might be easier than you actually think. So it's kind of like depending on where you fall. But the important thing of it is that you follow the red thread from what you are feeling, what your intuition is telling you, that you show up authentically. And sometimes when we do that, people are starting to see things from a different perspective with the Wheel of Fortune here. And something might change in this, It will regardless. If you show up exactly who you are, your energy changes, then the energy of other people will change too. The only question is in what direction. King of Cups, Queen of Pentacles. Well, that's good. Seven of Wands here, which is about holding your boundaries, not putting up with, more of this Ten of Swords things here. Here's the Queen of Pentacles. Now, this is you absolutely standing on, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to build my life, live my life, create my foundation. You can tell that every time we talk about this, my voice is having a hard time. So this is not easy for you to stand in this energy, but you got this. You really do. Not easy, but following the thread, reminding yourself, be present with Spirit, be present with what you know to be true. Don't start, being in this Nine of Swords energy and questioning yourself or your motivations or all of that. Stay true to the fact that you know that you can build this foundation for yourself. Here's the King of Cups. This may or may not, for some of you, this is going to put the other person more in the King of Cups, more understanding, empathy, more, being able to see things from your point of view. And for others, maybe not so much. There's the King of Cups, there's the King of Swords. So it kind of depends, what the situation is here. But regardless of how this other entity or these other energies react to this, then you need to follow this. And I kind of feel like in the past there has been situations where you really didn't, do that. And that's the shadow side of you here, that you're needing to stand up for yourself. You're needing to defend yourself and really be, very, very determined about this. And honestly, I think for a lot of you, that's how you mend this bridge. Maybe not necessarily with this other energy, but with yourself. That's how you follow the red thread. That's how you follow your intuition or your shadow side, the hidden part of you. But the part that your soul is really wanting to live out. That is basically by saying, I know I can do this, and sticking to that, being present with that. Can we get some advice, Spirit? Yeah, King of Pentacles. Bossing up. Here's the Seven of Cups underneath here. And the Knight of Wands. Yeah. This is you learning to stand up for yourself. The Knight of Wands here, he's, he always looks to me like he's a little bit in agony. And this may not have been an easy road for you. You might have been on this path for a long time and haven't been able to find your way, haven't been able to really kind of, build that foundation that you really want to do. But this is Spirit saying to you, hey, we got your back. You got this. It's time to bust up and basically, stand on what you believe. And that can be difficult, especially around the holidays when there might be people that you're kind of like, well, I know they're never going to see things my way. Here's the Eight of Cups, all kinds of different choices, ways of doing things. But, your job here is to stand on what you believe, because that's how you bridge this earthly part of yourself with your soul's journey and what you came here to do. That's how you follow that intuitive path. Can I know more, Spirit? Yeah, Ace of Wands. So yeah, this is you learning to stick by yourself. This is you taking that first step out on this bridge here, as wobbly as it is, as well, I won't say unsafe, but as wobbly, we'll just use wobbly, as this bridge is. There's a part of you that knows it's time to stand by who you are, because living in a world where you're not standing by who you are is just not going to cut it. It's just not. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't create abundance in your life. It just doesn't align. And that's what this is. It's time to align with who you are and turn your back on who other people told you to be. This may cost some of you, but in the end, there'll be a much stronger sense of self, a much stronger connection to Spirit and to your journey, because you honored yourself, you honored who you were, or who you are, and what you came here to do. So, yeah, that's what I have for you. Please click like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. Write me a comment if you feel called to do so. I love to read your comments, and that would be wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you guys. Big love.